In this video, we are going to see what a callback function is, and we are going to see some examples. So basically, a callback function is a function that is passed as a parameter. So if I have my function here like this, and inside the parentheses, we are going to pass a parameter, and this is going to be my callback function. We can see callback functions a lot in JavaScript. For example, if we are accessing the event lizard method and we want to run something after the user has clicked an element, the second parameter here is a callback function. So it's a function passed as a parameter here, and we can see callback functions in arrays, for example, using the map method or the filter or for each, and many other examples, also custom callback functions. So just to see an example here, what we can do is to create a function. Let's call this log to console. And this function is going to log something to the console. We are going to add the value here, and that value is going to be a parameter in our function. So if I create, for example, another function here, and let's call this some values. And this function is going to have one parameter, which is going to be the first number, the second parameter is going to be the second number, and finally we are going to have our callback function here, and we are going to call this log. And what we want to do is to sum number 1 plus number 2, and we are going to store this into a variable. We are going to call this result. And at the end, we are going to log this to the console. We could do this, for example, and just log the result. But what we can do also is to use something to the console also using our callback function. So finally, what we are going to do is to call our function here, the third parameter, and we are going to pass result as a parameter here. So this result is going to move here, and it is going to then move to here, and that's the value we are going to log to the console. So let's test this out. I'm going to call some values. I'm going to pass 1 and 2 as the first parameters, and then the callback function, which is going to be this one. And right now I'm passing a reference to the function. This function is passed here, and then is passed here, but after that I'm calling the function. Here's where the function is executing. So if I run this, it should bring the number 3. And what we could do too is to, instead of calling a function already made, we can just pass the logic here. So instead of writing this, I can create another function, and this function is going to console log the value. But because we need that parameter, we are going to access that here. Let's remove this. Let's clear the console and run this again, and the result is going to be the same. Right now I'm using a callback function. That's the only difference. The only tricky part at the beginning is how that function is like traversing all our code, because right now we have the function here, but then it's passed here, but then is we are invoking the function here. And so that's what we need to understand at the beginning. It is kind of confusing, but you'll get used to it and you'll get the hang of it. And we can do this in JavaScript because functions in JavaScript are higher order functions, which means that we can pass functions as parameters, and or we can return. Actually, I could type here return. We can return the function as a value. if we want to. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful, and see you on the next one.